Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It's another episode of the Weekly Technology Forum, sponsored by Love My Tool. This week we have two guests from one of our newest sponsors, Love My Tool sponsor, SecurActive, which is actually headquartered in Paris, France. And last week we have Mr. Boris Ragia, who is the COO or General Director of SecurActive, and he did a fantastic job explaining the problem that they saw, they attempt to solve with the customer, and then start to introduce their product, which is called Performance Vision. So I have Boris back this week, who is acting as my co-host, and he's going to introduce his CTO, but. Let me go ahead and welcome Boris. Good evening, Boris.
Good morning, Danny.
Good morning. Yeah, good morning for me. Yes. And can you introduce your friend?
Yeah, of course. I mean, let Thibault actually make a demonstration of the product in depth. What we are going to try to do is just show the most useful use cases and how we actually respond to the most common questions that most customers ask when they buy an APM solution. I mean, by this understanding, where they face the degradations, what's the scope of the degradations, where they come from, and basically drilling down to the most detailed data we can show at the network level and also at the application level.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Look forward to that. So, so take it away.
Okay.
All right.
So guys, my name is Thibault Bouchette, CTO for SecurActive, and I'm quite excited to show you today a performance vision. So what's exactly the agenda? And let me show you some screen. Just set up the sharing. Okay, are you seeing the screen correctly on your side, guys?
Yes, yes, perfect.
Okay, perfect. So small agenda, just to have a good overview of what we will spend our time today. So first, we'll start with a live demo of the product, demonstrating the most standard workflow our customers use to do some troubleshooting when there are issues on their network. After that, we will drill down into specific use case dedicated to database transaction analysis, and just to finish, a very short use case dedicated to file sharing issues. And then if you have any questions on answer, we are open to that. So let's jump right away to product presentation, because it's what you want to see. So our product is a full web interface. So no complex things to install, nothing to install on client side, nothing to install on server side. You just take your favorite browser, whatever it is, Internet Explorer, Chrome, Firefox, whatever, and you just log into the product. So let me do that. Once you arrived, the first thing you see is what we call business critical application. So that's a custom dashboard that you can personalize depending on which application you want to monitor. Just a small overview before, we have different universes. One is dedicated to application. So we have a bunch of different dashboards. We have overviews information with matrix views of the map for application performance. We have a lot of top reports, and we can also have a dedicated area for in-depth analysis. This is dedicated for applications. We have also the same approach, but specifically network-oriented. So we have also a dashboard for business-critical networks. We have everything regarding bandwidth, performance regarding the network, dedicated matrix views for network, and also tops and in-depth analysis. And also, one of the strengths of Performance Vision is the part that is dedicated to protocols, so level 7. So we have everything regarding name services, HTTP, HTTPS, in-depth analysis, database analysis with SQL decoding, file sharing with SMB, CIFS, voice and also non-IP and ICMP traffic. But let's start with most use case we see most of the time with our clients. So this is, okay, the client says, I have an issue on one application. So first thing, generally, you start with the business critical application dashboard. So here, we see a number of different applications. So we have 5 applications listed here, but it could be adapted to your configuration. So if you want to create your own application or add more application here, it's perfectly doable. So here, what I'm seeing is what we call the EURT. So it displays the end user response time for this specific application. So the end user response time is really, the purpose of this metric is to display the response time for this application as the user perceives it. So it's a metric that combines several different things. Sure, the network latency, the server response time, the data transfer time. So everything is aggregated to produce the end user response time. So here we see we have different color codes that are quite easy to understand. If it's gray, there is not enough traffic or even no traffic at all. If it's orange, its degradation is starting. And if it's red, it's way above SLAs. So just without doing nothing here at this level, you can already have a good hint. Is your problem coming from the network? Is the problem coming from the server? Is the problem more coming relative to data concerning the application? Just by putting my mouse here, I can already know, oh, it's very likely related to application server response time. Because here I see, hey guys, my end user response time is about 800 milliseconds. But latency, it's quite low. Round trip time, yeah, it's low. Server response time, it's quite high. It's more than 700 milliseconds. So here, without a single click, I already know my issue is probably coming from the server response time side. But okay, I want to know more. Here, just at the beginning of the line with the name of the application, we have several shortcuts. So the first one is application dashboard. So and that's what I want to look after. It's okay, I want to have more details regarding specifically this application to see how it behaves over time. So in one single click, I will have the details of the application performance, but specifically adjusted for this web ERP application. And so what do we get here? We see the performance over time with several different metrics. We see in yellow the RTT, so the network latency. We see in blue the SRT, server response time, and we see data transfer time in both sides from client to server and from server to a client. So here it's obvious. Things are coming from SRT. So network in yellow, it's really low. The red data transfer time is even lower. So clearly it comes from server response time. But we have even more information here. We know it is not related to an increase of transactions, because sometimes when it gets slower, it's caused because you have more and more transactions or more users connecting to your server. Here, really, this is not the case because the number of transactions remain quite low. So the peak in server response time is definitely not associated with an increased number of transactions. But more on this screen, just by going down on this screen, I have even more information. I have two very interesting information. I have the breakdown by server and the breakdown by client zone. So what does this give me as in an information? It gives me, okay, if I have several servers providing this information, I will be able to see at a glance, okay, do all the servers suffer or have all the server issues with server response time, or is it one specific server that has issues? And the second part is, okay, with client, are all the clients impacted by the slowdown or only a part of them? Here, very visual. It's clear that all the users, that's the user from the site 1, really suffers more than the others, because here we clearly see with the 4-second response time from the user from site 1, they clearly have an issue. So let's focus on this guy at site 1 to see what happens with them. Again, one single click, and we will drill down to get more details. So this time, we see still the application web ERP, but we focus on the client zone site 1. So here we have the specific information from the users for this site. And clearly, we can see the scale. The application response time are really terrible here because it goes up to about 14 seconds. So that's really dramatic from the user point of view. The network is definitely not an issue. It's so low that we barely see it. And also the red for the data transfer time is almost negligible. Again, we see the number of transactions is quite low, and the peaks in response time are definitely not associated with an increase in number of transactions. We see there is still one single server providing this application, but now we have the breakdown by clients. So we can now see for this seat, does all the clients have the same issue or only a part of them? So we see here we have 4 different clients. We can eventually make some DNS resolution if we want. So here we have no DNS server, but if you have your DNS server, you can make DNS resolution. And we can sort to see, for example, based on the server response time, the worst response time. So here on the 4 different users, we see one is not impacted because it's okay. It has about 9 milliseconds in response time, but the others are above the second. We have 3.1 seconds, 5.9 seconds. So we know some users are more specifically suffering from this application. Again, if we want to know more, we can continue to drill down. So if we focus on the one that has the slowest response time, I click at the beginning of the line, and we will show all the conversation specifically for this user. Here we arrived, and we switch back into in-depth analysis for TCP. We see a lot of information, so you can see Performance Vision is fully compliant with IPv6 because we automatically convert all IPs in IPv6. You see a lot of information regarding client IP information, server IP information, the application name, and you see the bad response time here. Now, from here, you have 2 options. You can either click here on the small PCAP icon, and then you can launch your good old Wireshark to do your packet analysis, because Performance Vision does automatic PCAP capture. So when Performance Vision sees bad response time, it automatically captures packets for you, and so you can make your own analysis just from your favorite analyzer tool. The interesting part of that is Performance Vision only captures the packets in correlation with the slow response time. So you did not get millions of packets, you just get packets related to the issue. But this is not needed, because you can use Performance Vision to go even further. You can get all the conversation for these users. So just by one click, we get all the conversations over the network related to this application. Now we have more information. We do OS fingerprinting, you have a lot of information, IP address, MAC address, and so ever. But you also see the full network stack. So here we see, okay, it's IPv4, TCP, HTTP, and you have a lot of information regarding server response time, and so on. And you can sort by server response time, you can sort on any criteria to get more information related to that. What you can do, as it is HTTP, with Performance Vision, you can switch from layer 3 to layer 7 very easily. So in one click, let's mark this conversation, take this one, okay, it's 17.8 seconds. And I would like to know, okay, for this flow, that is a TCP level 3 flow, what are the corresponding conversations. So at the beginning of the line, in one single click, I can switch from layer 3 and go to see, okay, what is going on at level 7, and to have a look at the different conversations at level 7. Again, I can sort the different conversations to get my different server response time and find back my 17.8 seconds response time. And here then I have access to the different conversations, and I have the complete URL with the different parameters. So I see if I want to still continue to drill down and to see, okay, if I want to help the application development team, I can provide them with the exact query that was causing the slowdown. I have the client IP address that made the request. I have even information regarding the user agent, the browser that caused the request, and so on. So in just a few clicks, you start from a high-level dashboard indicating that you have an issue with very simple color codes starting from grid orange to red. In just 2-3 clicks, you get into the details. Every time at each click, you get more information. You focus on, okay, which server are responsible? Does it impact everyone on my network or only a part of them? And okay, it impacts only a few users, and you can see more, okay, what are those users doing? And you can go up to the details of the conversation and even go to see at level 7 and to see the details of the application with the different parameters. That's the basic use case we have with really simple drill down. So you start really from high-level dashboard, and from click to click, you get more information up to the details of level 7 transactions. But there is something more I would like to show you. That's something that we are quite proud of it regarding specifically HTTP. Here, you see we were at the hit level. So I think most products do HTTP at hit level, but we are able to do analysis not only at the hit level, but to rebuild the navigation of the users and to do analysis at the page level. So when you go here at the page level, if I'm clearing all the filters, at page level, we are able to analyze all the navigation of the users and to see how web pages are being loaded. And then you can, for example, here you see I have 83 elements on this first page. I click on this page, and I will have the page load time for this web page with all the different elements. So here, very visually, I can see, okay, this page took about 6.5 seconds to load, and this element took 4 seconds just by itself. So I can optimize my web page. I can see, okay, if I have a full web page, what are the different elements that are causing the slowdown? And it's very visual and very intuitive. In just 2 clicks, I'm able to see, okay, how many traffic I can filter by IP, by client, by a lot of different parameters. And instantly, I see the elements that are causing the issue. On that, we are doing that on the fly by decoding all HTTP transactions on the network, and we do that without any agent, neither on client side, neither on server side. So it's quite interesting for customers because they do not have to activate anything on the server part. They do not have to deal with server access or server logging or inject new software at any point. There is no injection at JavaScript level or whatsoever. So this is purely done by passive analysis on the network, and that's really a great advantage of performance vision. If we go back, I know this audience, it's really, really advanced technically speaking. So I wanted to show you a use case that is really coming from one of our customers. That's a real case. So I could not give you access directly to this network for confidentiality and security reasons, but I have a different screen capture that really show you how it works from the first complaint of the user up to the details analysis at level 7. So this is really dedicated to database analysis, but when the user complains, you don't know at the beginning that it's a database issue. So you have just a very angry customer that says, okay, just make this work, and I haven't time for this. So in this case, it's for a hospital, and the doctor are using an application, and the application has a lot of slowdown, so the doctors are complaining very loudly, and they say, hey, my job is to save people, it's not waiting for a computer to answer. And so that's globally what a team that will use performance vision will do. Okay, first, you don't know at all it's a database issue. So first you will see, okay, I have a user complaining for application performance. I will just check that. So you know, okay, you know the application the doctor is using. He's using an application called Backoffice HQ, and you know its IP address. And so you just go to application performance, and you drill down the performance of this application, and you see, okay, there is some slowdown over time regarding this application. Okay, I can confirm that. Then first you would like to see, okay, is it the network or not? In one click, you can go and check the performance regarding the network at the same time. So you'll see here latency, it's okay, because it's about less than 1 milliseconds for the latency. Retransmission rate is okay, almost no retransmission rate, and the number of packets over the network are really low. So you can say, okay, there is maybe an application issue, but regarding network, I can confirm in one click there is no issue regarding that network for this guy at this moment. Then, okay, you know it's not the network, and you have confirmed there is application issue. Let's drill down to conversation for this user. You see, okay, it's an application, user is coming from the doctor offices, you have the client IP, you see, okay, the application that is answering, it's a database application. You see the protocol stack, you see the port number, it's Oracle database behind, and you see, okay, I have this client is connecting to a server application and runs the database on this server IP. Let's check more. If you compare the SQL performance to the application performance, you can see the first part of the screen is dedicated to application performance, but from a TCP point of view, the second part of the screen at the bottom, it's dedicated to database SQL performance. And you see exactly the same issues in response time. So you can definitely confirm the slow response time is caused by the database server. So let's focus on this database server and look at the SQL queries. So performance vision, again, is able to decode on the fly the major database applications. So we provide online decoding for MySQL, from PostgreSQL, from SQL Server, from Microsoft, and from Oracle Server. So the 4 big databases on the market. And so inside performance vision, again, without any agent on the database, without borrowing the database administrator with anything, just by listening at the packet, we decode the transaction on the fly. So here with performance vision, you just in one click, you see all the SQL transactions for this user at this moment of time. And you see you have some really slow responses because for this query, insert into patient contact list, you have response times that are going from 16 seconds up to 1 minute. And you can even drill down more with performance vision. You can inspect the details of the query. So in performance vision, just by putting the mouse over the query, we will display you all the details of the query. So again, developers can have access to all the details of the query just by putting the mouse over the query, and we display the query with color highlighting, with syntax indentation, and so on to help readability. And here you can compare there was 3 different queries, and you see response time are becoming worse every time the user queries a larger period of time. So when the user queries a small period of time, from 1 month, the queries answer in about 17 seconds. When the user queries about 1 year of data, the answer from the server is about 1 minute. So now you can say, okay, you can explain the user, the larger it queries in time, the slower it will be. And so you can explain the user what happens, and you can help the development team and say, okay, guys, you should really optimize this query because this query is used a lot by the customer, and they get really bad response time on this specific query. So that was a real use case for performance vision inside the database world, and what we can do at database analysis level. Just a very short example of how it works with file sharing. It will be very short, but just to showcase what you can do with performance vision at this level. So very simple example. Someone tries to connect, but he provides a wrong password when trying to connect to a shared resources. So how does it work? Normally, what you will do with SMB protocol, you will do a protocol negotiation, session setup, and then authentication. Inside Performance Vision, you will see that. You will see, okay, the client has negotiated this SMB2 protocol. He tried to connect, and then he gets status logon failure. So you can, again, troubleshoot very easily. You have a complaint from the user saying, I have issue, I could not connect, please check. Yeah, you can see exactly, okay, you know for which user at which moment of time, and you get all the errors regarding file sharing connectivity. So that's it for today. I could speak for a lot of time, but I think it's good for today. So I propose we switch back to any questions Danny or Boris can have, or Boris also can answer to that.
Yes, I don't have any questions.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Danny, do you have any questions following the demo that you think you would have?
No, I think it's a great demo. I think that's what we want to achieve today is a little drill down a little bit more onto the product, something that we started talking last week. Yeah. So unfortunately, Tim could not be with us today. He had to do some errands. So he's the big brain here. So he usually asks all the tough questions. He gave me all the soft ones. But I would like to. I think that our audience, if they have any questions, they would not be shy about commenting. But what I would like to talk about is what we would do after this show, and one of the format that has worked really well for us is Shockfest.tv, which is one where it's mainly about technology, and it's always, in the end, it's always about the product, but we would like to push the product more to the background and focus on the technology. So maybe a relevant questions that I ought to ask for this session is, what was the fundamental building block? And with the CTO on the show today, that would be a great question. What was the 1 or 2 technology building blocks that really kind of put this product together?
There are. I think, technically speaking, we are really proud of our sniffer technology that we improve constantly, and we are even so proud of it that you can access to it because it's publicly available on GitHub, because we are fan of open source. So we are so proud of it that we even make it available to everyone so they can contribute and see the quality of our code. So really, our real-time sniffer it's amazing. And the second part we've done, it's all the work regarding database. because I think a quick criteria between solutions and the market in the coming years will be how it is able to deal with more and more amount of data to deal with and to provide users with correct response time. In the same time, we have to drill down and to look into so many data. I think it's terabytes of data we are speaking right now, and we have to provide users with, if possible, sub-seconds response time. So it's all the work we've done regarding improving response time from users and our ability to search among hundreds of gigabytes or terabytes of data and to provide good response time from our users.
Yeah, because that tend to happen, right? And when the customer sees sees a very user-friendly interface, and you're spending so much effort making the product easy to use, they tend to forget all the intelligence, all the hard work that went behind it.
Yeah, exactly. They are always asking for more. Every time we double the speed, we double the performance, whatever, and so you get a new user and he says, oh, but why only 1 week? I would like to search over 2 weeks, or why not over 1 month?
Yeah, that's the case. I think we've made it so easy that even sometimes customers forget that, for example, getting the database queries real time like we do is something quite exotic and very innovative, and people forget that in most solutions they would have to deal with packets to get there.
Yeah,
Here you just have to make one click to get it.
Yeah. So why don't so we should probably close the show. It's a little over half an hour, so we don't want to make this too long, because then it frightens people. They might not think that they have enough time to watch it. So let's do that. But I'd just like to extend our invitation for us to do some follow-up. And the two things I can think of is perhaps we could have you submit a paper to Love My Tool. More of a technology paper. Kind of talk about some of the technology building block that went into your product. And so I think that would be a real compliment to today's show. And then I think once we have that, then we can come back with some Shockfest.tv episode that really drill down on the technology. And with Shockfest coming up in just a matter of months, I don't know if you gentlemen decide would want to come out to California for that or not. But in any case, that's a forum that really caters to the technologists, the people who really understands the really deep protocol analysis, and are at the same time are very interested in moving that to the application level. So I think that would be a really good audience for us. So
this would be a fantastic audience, because we really look forward to getting in touch with as many of those technologists as possible, because they provide us also with the right feedback and guidance to where we should go from a product development point of view.
Yeah. Okay. So let's do that. Let's. I'll look forward to getting a paper from you, and then we can get it posted, and then that becomes a blueprint. Then, right?
Perfect.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks everyone. Thanks Thibault. Thanks Boris, and hopefully we'll see you soon in just a couple of weeks.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. Thanks everyone. And
thanks,
okay. Bye bye.
Bye bye.